Thanks for an interesting presentation. I had a question related to how easy do you think it is to spread the use? Because I've been in that place, actually. It was really interesting to see that in llamas. So how easy is to spread the use of this technique among farmers in the area? I'm interested in that. Thank you.
I think it's pretty easy because it's pretty inexpensive and it's pretty lo-fi technology. When were you there? When did you go to Peru?
Been about a year ago.
Yeah. So you met Frederic and you've been to the center?
No. Just by myself. Still in ecological communities, but yeah.
Well, I can say that several of the little indigenous communities around there, including Xolo Xolo and Chuchuacu and a number of others, have built similar biochar ovens because they're pretty inexpensive to make. And I've been able to be a conduit for some of that technology back to Canada, and a number of farmers have built them here. So I think as long as the costs are kept pretty low and there's a reliable fuel stock and feed source, I think it's one of those technologies that's easily adaptable to people that don't have a lot of capital. It's not fancy technology.
Thank you very much.
Right? Because the fancier and more expensive it is, the less likely it is to be adopted by people that don't have the means, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe I don't know if it's a long or short question, but I'm wondering, does anyone perform it kind of calculation of the carbon balance? Because to produce a biochar, you need to burn firewood. So does anyone calculated this balance?
I believe people have at bigger scales. I don't really know what the emissions are like for a small oven such as this one, but I do know that the technology is pretty sophisticated and it actually channels a lot of the gases back into the fire as a kind of positive feedback loop to increase the temperature of the fire. So a lot of those initial emissions are burned a second time, which gets rid of some of the worst emissions. But certainly there's going to be some emissions, of course, associated with the combustion of any biomass. So yes, there are some emissions associated with biochar for sure, but I think that I think they're called syngases, which can be looped back in. I think you can reduce the emissions, but I don't know off the top of my head exactly what they are, but certainly there's some emissions associated with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions to Jeremy? Okay, so thank you very much. Very inspiring presentation, and I invite everyone to go to your website and read more about the technology. So thank you.